Okay, good morning. This is Simon with Trade and Perform Coaching, going over the market preview for uh, February 27th. Okay, so it's the last day of the month, right? You got to be prepared for a little craziness, right? So, first of all, I want to get this new Trader Assist out. I don't have all the little kinks finished in it yet, so as soon as I do, I will get it done. However, it would have lost money last night. Okay, it's important to see this because it's getting over the value areas, and so it's triggering it long and a heavy downtrend. So let me explain this. It's down 515 overnight, right? It's the worst night that it's had since it started, and that's okay, right? It, you cannot make these work perfectly mechanically, and where it's getting tagged out is at the top of the channel. So here's the problem that everyone's going to ask me. Well, why don't you just not let it take the trades at the top of the channel? And the answer is because all the money on this thing is made when it breaks to the upside on the other side of the V. So what I'm going to do is at 8:30, I'm going to save this so everyone can see it. But there's the last trade that it took, and it's not a disaster. The way I would have run it, okay, the way I would have run it, I'd be down $1,500. But if you go through the math on it, right, I'd be down 1,500 tonight. But overnight, over the because I'm going to run triple the size, right? I'm going to run 9 instead of 3, right? So I'd be down 1,500. But over the last week, I'd have been up 3K. So yes, did I get back half in hypothetically one night? Yes, I did, right? I get back half. However, I'm still up on the trade, and it's an extraordinarily hard trend down overnight, which usually doesn't happen. It's tuned to what the market usually does overnight, which is balance both ways. And it's just not smart, right? The only way could have avoided that loss is to go, I'm not running it tonight, right? I don't like the way the market looks or whatever, but every time I try to guess with these, I get it pretty much consistently wrong, right? Like I'm usually cutting out profit, not putting in profit. And to balance that out yesterday during the day, it made $288, right? So it's okay. There's nothing horrible's happened. We'll see how it ends out the day, but it's going to be minus 515, and then I'll flip it over at the market open to another account so we can compare the performance between the two of them, right? So that's point number one. I want to get that out of the way because I don't want to hype up something and then have someone come back and say, well, you never mentioned, you know, how many losses there could be or what it looks like. That's the first really ugly day that we've had. And in order to get that, you've pretty much had to have a consistent, hard trend day down, no lift overnight. And that very rarely happens, but it can happen. So next, on to today. So we ran this, there's some numbers. So what this tells you is this is taking our strongest trades, right? What it's doing is getting over volume on the 30-second chart. It's aligning itself with where the over or under the value of the hourly bars, right? So we're testing a few different methods, but the one I'm using is the one that's tested the strongest. So what's important here? Uh, what's important here is that when you look at this and then you go and look on high volatility days, right? When the VIX is up, your numbers are as follows. If you just ran this from, because it tells you important information about your trading too. So on high volatility, sorry, I gotta find it. Okay, this is from the 18th to the 26th. Okay, today's the 27th. Running it from um, London close, London closed till 2 p.m. Okay, London closed to 2 p.m. Your numbers for that time frame, the 18th to the 26th, are on all trades on 3 micros. You had total profits of $1,142. You had closed trades total profit of $3,004, total losses of $1,837. It does have losing trades. We're not trying to avoid those losing trades, and it's coming in at about, in the last 2 weeks, at about a 1.9 on the longs and 1.46 on a profit factor. Okay, it's good. It's not great. It's good. Okay. Remember, it's a dumb system, right? It's just taking the best trades. So what that tells you about your trading also is if you look when the volatility is very, very high, the trade should get easier after 10:30. if it's going so fast, right, there's two issues that come to the fore if you're not disciplined on your entry is the stops start making you want to click in and out, right? So there's a way to fix that, right? So if you look at overnight, okay, so there's a couple of ways to have traded this, right? One way to trade it is to only take the squares down when we're under the 200, right? So you'll see here that if you had done that most of the night, you could have scalped out going into out of Asia, right? So I want to show you what will work. Everyone should have a blue square trader that you can just turn on and off. Sorry, excuse me. Apologies. Right? Square down. That's this morning. Square down. Square down. And if you go a little bit further through, square down. And then the square stuff to obviously work, but that's harder on, that is harder when you are on the V side of those shapes. Those squares get up, that get stuffed, get stopped more often, right? So if you go look at yesterday and go, well, let's look at the day. Okay, so look, how would my question's always like, if I have a day, how could have I improved it? Well, the first thing I would have done is gone, hey, we're under the 200. Ah, we're under the 200 5-minute, right? We're obviously falling. So I would have asked a simple question. Why? Because that'll give me usually my answers for the next day. Under the 200, I went short. Square down. Assuming you could have caught them or clicked in fast enough. Square down, stopped. Square down. Square down. You're starting to get the idea, right? Square down, stopped. Square down, stopped. Square down, stopped. And what's happened here is we've stretched so far. See that we got to the other side of the V. See, it did a retrace, right? And it's gotten to the other side of the V. But if you watch and you stay with the square trade, you'll any losses. So you just had to recognize. Okay, so this is something that a lot of people in the room miss. So it's worth mentioning, right? A lot of people miss that we're already down 500 points. It's hard to keep the trades going. It's hard to keep the trades going. You could easily just have gone back in the same area and gone, look at all the squares up that worked, right? But the point is, if you did it blindly, the point is, if you did it blindly and had no other information on your side, right? The squares on the turn worked very, very well for the gross majority of the day. There was a brief period where it gave you absolutely nothing. There was a brief period where it gave you absolutely nothing, but for the most part, it gave you very good trades for the day, right? Additionally, right now do it the other way. Okay. Let's say you thought, no, 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 we're down too much, right? So if you look through this, right, come back over here. We're free falling. I mentioned this, right? Get supernova first, right? So step one, get supernova. You got that right here. Is everyone tracking? Uh-oh, I didn't mean to. I did. Here we go. How's that? That works? Okay, good deal. Thank you. Okay, so let me go through that again. Did you see any of that, Nate, or all of it was blind? Okay, let's start over. Look, under the 200, right? See how we got underneath the 200 right away? And I've said this before, right? Your best trades when you first get underneath the 200, right, which occurred right here, are your squares down. Those things run. Those are the first few squares down right there, and eventually gave you the rollover, right? So I need to see. There we go. So when you look at this, 1, 2, 3, right? Free fall. See this right here? Sorry, this is where people miss the whole, they miss the whole deal. Like it's not even like, oh, look, it may be, or, you know, something else that they miss the whole thing. Like it's not even remotely close as to whether or not it works or not. They missed the whole freaking kit and caboodle on this move down. Okay, and what they do is they get locked in on the short. Okay, or there's the other side of this. They come in and they see this, they see this, and they get locked on. I'm going to find the reversal, right? Which obviously that would be pretty devastating here. So all you have to do mentally is first of all go and say, I will wait for supernova. Now let me show you what happens when you wait for supernova. First thing supernova does is tells you is there some kind of buyer there, right? The next thing you want to look is once you have supernova, can you get above your last seller? See these three guys, 1, 2, 3. These are your last sellers down here. Okay, does everyone see that? Does that make sense? Now you're looking for, right, to get above your sellers, come back and give you a square up. Now watch your risk management. Stop. And I'm not asking anyone to trade the reversal. I'm showing you how to if you want to, right? Stop, long, long. What had to happen for those squares to work? First of all, you see none of them show up in this free fall except for this one on top, right? So you'll notice two qualities. The small differences make a big difference. When you're in an up market or you're above support and people are pushing for the trade, these squares, these bars with the squares on top work really well. Okay. When you are in a hard downtrend, you need the square underneath. Brian, Nate, does that make sense when you're looking at it? Joyce, does that make sense? Okay. So, but what happens is I'll say that and then people won't acknowledge it in their actual trading execution, right? Like when they actually execute, I'll see, well, I took this trade, I'll take this trade. So you got to work really hard mentally to go, no, 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 I'm not taking that. I'm not going to take that, even if it works, right? Like here, this is a great example. Oh, look, purple bar up, right? It's an example where you don't want to take it. Why? Watch. You've obviously gone supernova here, square up, square up, right? But the first thing that led you into that, the way you can stay safest, right? If you're going to try to find a bottom, is let it supernova first and then step back and see if the price action is starting. See how you get supernova? Look at the size of the rotations. Now all of a sudden up, down, up, an impulse move. You get the diamonds up the second time, right? What that tells you is that there's at least people speculatively trying to reverse the market, right? They're not trying to, they're not trying to, hold on, let me close this. They're not trying to, the sellers have finally gotten over the hardest part of their selling is what it means. Okay, next piece, and this is really important. I'm going to say it again. Okay, the next piece is when markets go wide really quick, you've got to acknowledge that this may be a market that you're going to have to be much more patient to make money in or sidestep. If you didn't lose any money yesterday, you did good because there's a ton of people that would be willing to change the position they're in, right? If you didn't lose money yesterday, you are good. Next, when it's really fast, you can make more money on fewer contracts if you need to, right? Because you're going to get bigger extensions when you're correct. Third, right? This is important. Where are you seeing evidence, right? So one of the things I really look for, right? One of the things I really look for is where are there sellers? Let me give you an example. See this over here? The reason people like Head and Shoulders, right? See how you knew you had sellers here? So I'm going to ask Brian, Joyce, all you guys, right? Does this make sense? There are clearly sellers here. There's no question about it, right? There's no question that there are sellers right here. So see when you get back over to the right side, you should see, right? These guys short covered, we're in a downtrend. The exact opposite happens when we're in an uptrend or over that 200, right? So then you start seeing it come down. Now watch when it's coming down, right? I'm looking for evidence, right, that we can go up. So see this over here, right? Now watch. They they broke these guys. They short covered. They came back in. They trapped. You know these sellers are persistent. Guess what you also know? Above this, these buyers are persistent above, right? So once you have that information, you're looking for the squares to confirm your direction in the way you want to trade. Not here, right? This is all right if you just said you're citing the supernova. I have no problem with it, right? But what you're betting is they're either going to get up here or break and come up, right? It is hard when the market is this violent and this volatile, this fast, which is why I'm suggesting you slow things monstrously down, okay? Because if you treat it like you have to make money today, you are likely to lose money today, okay? So the first thing, if the first hour bar is 500 points or 400 points, it's a cluster, right? I almost want to do nothing because how can you trade that liquidity, right? Let me tell you what you do. You come right over here to Mr. ES, right? Here's the same chart in ES yesterday. Look at the bars with the squares. Same chart, okay? Same exact chart, and we're going to trade it contra all the way down and then all the way up to see what happens to you, okay? Watch. Long, 901. I'm not saying it was easy or it wasn't fast. I'm just saying long. Underneath, long and stopped, long, big rotation up, square down, square up. Was it a huge trade? No, you're trading against the trend of the thing, right? But what I'm trying to show you is, sorry, my mic dropped. What I'm trying to show you is that the square on the turn on ES when we're in massive volatility works a hell of a lot better, okay? A hell of a lot better with fewer stops than it does in NQ. I don't have the trader ready if you're going to ask. This is all night, overnight, okay? What happens when volatility expands, ES gets easier, NQ is harder. The other thing that tells you is that you should be paying attention to is if you're going to trade NQ, I would damn sure make sure that I have a square on ES 8-tick chart before I took a trade, okay? Because they are ruling the roost right. The ES traders rule the roost right now. That is the answer, okay? If you don't believe me, here's the other highly volatile day we had. Here's Monday. I believe we got kiboshed on Monday as well, okay? Right? Free fall, 11:30, square up, square down, square up. Again, I'll have this complete this weekend. I don't have it complete right now. If you want, you can simply convert your NQ chart, the square, this blue and white square trader, right, that I've sent out. Just convert it to ES, but your symbols are going to be all over the place. Okay, your signals are going to be all, it just works off the square, so it'll translate. Okay, but the chart's going to look weird, and you'll know when it'll either, and you turn on the long or short, and it'll tee you in on bar one or bar two. Okay, it has to touch the fourth channel. Is the only requirement there. Okay, but this is when we were getting kiboshed hard, right? Hard. If you took there's a stop, right? Depending on your stop, I put a 10-point stop on these, by the way. Oh, this is the middle of the night too. Here, let me show you Tuesday real quick. Tuesday morning, 9 o'clock. Square up, square up, square down, square down. This is a square up on second bar up. It's best if it's on bar one, but you get what where I'm going with that. That's the end of the day. You should have that ES chart at minimum an 8-tick ES chart up and see where the squares are appearing. It will keep you, without doing massive number analysis, right? It will keep you on the right side of the trade. It will keep you on the right side of the trade without getting you destroyed. And all I care about today is don't get destroyed. When I talk to people, right? When I talk to people and I go, you remember in July, if you look at, I mean, April of last year, right? And I go, hey, when the VIX was mega high, if you just skipped it, right, and you traded the rest of the months, you did just fine. That it was April that kiboshed almost all the algos. Okay. Then what happened? Yeah, just go through, right? And everyone goes and says, yeah, I agree with you. All I had to do is take it easy in this month and I made money the rest of the time. That's where we're at right now, right? Cut your size, take it slow, okay? Cut your size, make it slow. You can make a lot of money with 3 micros right now, okay? You can make $200, $300 on 3 micros in a trade, okay? If you have difficulty with fast markets, just wait. What are your markers for today? Let me show you. First thing I'm looking at. Am I over the 200 period on NQ off the 5-minute chart? Easy marker, right? Easy marker. Am I above or am I below that period bar, right? Number 2, am I above Globex low or below Globex low? First hour high, last hour high, prior day's close, right? The market's in a bit of a panic right now. I'm not exactly sure. I can't put my finger on exactly what it is that it's in a panic about, and it doesn't really matter, right? Supernova, squares on ES are what's going to guide me today. Don't try to trade every turn on NQ. NQ will be illiquid at the open, I can promise you. It will be illiquid. The spread will probably be 5 points for the first, in reality, 5 points. And MNQ, if you are trading it today, expect your stops to get run. It happens every time we have a liquidity issue. Okay, so Brian, in your cash account, right? You have to expect that they're going to run you. You have to expect that they are going to run you, right? That's all there is to it. And anyone else trading micros, you have to expect that they're going to run your fills in a cash account today, at least in the first hour, right? Because liquidity is a problem. Stop and do an emotional check of where you are in the day. Look at your P&L, try to figure out what you want to accomplish, okay? Try to figure out what it is you want to accomplish with your day. I've now taken, since I posted that last, and I've slowly scalped my way using 3 micros on that Tradeify account, right? I'm now up $37, okay? I'm now up $37. Why am I only trading 3 micros in there? Because I don't want to blow it up, right? And when I say these things in the morning, it tends to fall on deaf ears by later in the day. Okay, I want to state that really clearly. When I say this in the morning, and I go, did you hear what I said in the morning? Be careful. It's the last day of the month additional to that, right? So you're going to have painting of the tape. Who knows what's going on with Iran? Just expect it to be hard, right? So trading a little bit smaller, I'd rather you trade a little bit smaller and go, oh, I could have had a monster day if I just traded my size, right? I'd rather you trade a little bit smaller and go, oh, I would have had a monster day versus I traded my regular size. I got crushed, right? I got crushed and now I'm upset and I have to go through it with the weekend. A lot of you, and I want to tip my hat to Brian specifically, turned his week around. Brian, you need to review carefully what you did yesterday, emotionally, not actual execution wise. You just need to review what you did emotionally yesterday and the day before. You did a great job turning it around. Joyce, you've done a great job from the communication that we've had in either abstaining or being very selective on what you're taking this week. Okay. Bill, you've done a great job, but you and I have already talked. We know what you're doing. Some people are taking today off because they've had exceptionally bad days the last day of the month. Okay. And well, those people aren't, I don't need to say who it is, right? But they're purposely taking the day off. And there's nothing wrong with that, right? Just see where the market is when it opens, and then we can decide what we're going to do. You have no idea if they're going to run it up 200 or run it down 200 off the open. It gets hard when everyone's panicky, right? So just think about what you want. So the first thing, let's go over here on the 60-minute. Let's go to a bigger chart actually here. I think it was this one. This is a 4-hour chart. Okay, I'm going to tell you right now. Support's over here. That's 24,708. You should write that down. Support is below 24,708. Okay, and it's stretched because that's a 4-hour chart most recently. The swing low of that is 24,667. That's where support is, hands down, easy to tell, right? There's a little bit of support right in here, right? Doesn't take a genius to chart like this. There's a little bit of support right in there, right? And this is all poorly auctioned all the way down, right? Doesn't mean I'm going long there, it just means I'm aware, right? In order to break out, I got to get above these two guys right over here. Easy peasy. There's not even difficult. 25,099. And if you look, see how we keep sweeping the range over here? See that? Sweep the range. Sweep up and down. Sweep up and down. Guess what? From 25, like don't be shocked if you see this thing go straight to 24,994 from 24,826. It's only 200 points in a market that's moving 400 or 500 points, right? That whole area is poorly auctioned, and that shouldn't be a shock. We should get more two-way price action down here because you can just go back and look to the left. Now, when you reduce that and you go to the hourly, right? So there's the hourly. So what you see on the hourly gives you a little bit more definition, right? Clearly, if you said, Simon, where do you want to trade today? If you were going to guess on ODTEs, right? I'm going to guess right freaking here. I'm going to start doing all my work right there at 24,715 to 24,671, right? I know I've got to get over this, right? I can just chart out the hour. I don't have to go any further than that. I don't have to even worry about where the prior day's highs and lows are. I know exactly where the buyers and sellers are. I know you blew out this buyer from yesterday right over here. He got stopped out, right? And then all you have to do is look underneath each of these hourly bars, right? So watch how the function of the hourly bars work when we're going down, right? See how we're getting heavy sell pressure back here? Okay, we're not the only geniuses to figure this out. So I'm helping you understand where you want to stop pressing, right? That's what I'm doing is I'm helping you to understand where you want to stop pressing. Look, hour bar, just underneath that hour bar. See that? 24,683, just underneath here, right? When people are looking, right, they're getting behind hourly bars, wicks of hourly bars when there's heavy sell pressure. I promise you, if you look right behind here on this day at 5:30, someone tried to save that. And as a matter of fact, you know they tried to save it, right? Why do you know that they tried to save it? Because they came back against it and backside tested it. You know buyers got stuck there, right? Then they came over here. Buyers did the same trick, right? If you look over here, buyers got stopped out here. So now when you look at 930, you would have said, we got to get above 762 and recover, right? And that is how you should be looking at the market today. There's no question, just do it piece by piece. And as you go back a little bit further to the left, I think I'm going to have to go back way back here. Okay, so if you look over here, right, you are going, oops, sorry. I'm having enough days loaded. Just 1 second. Okay, there. Okay, over here, I would have said, see that big wick? You got to stop that guy out, right? That's right here, okay? Then I would have said, you got to stop this guy out. I'm looking for wicks at the extreme, right? We didn't get to it. If you just mark off the hourly bars with big wicks on them, right? So if you go look at all this, like let's say we came to this Friday, right? The 13th, shockingly enough, right? We'll do it right here. Come back over here. Hopefully I have Friday the 13th still up. It was a scary day. Okay. Here's Friday the 13th. Where's my white line? I know it's here somewhere. Friday the 13th. Chart number 22. Okay. There's Friday the 13th, right? So you'll see we opened up and they clearly, if you look overnight, see how there's responsive buyers underneath there? And then what you'll notice is, right, the squares up over that level worked really, really nicely until they didn't, right? We get underneath. Now watch, you'd go, oh, we're trapped, I've missed, right? You haven't missed, right? What's going to happen is your longs are going to start to work over that level, right? Your longs are going to start to work over that level, okay? So yes, did it rip without giving you a chance back? Initially it did. There's your square up on the turn, square up, right? So that gives you a process. Lose the level, get back over the level, right? And trade the squares, right? If you need extra assurance, look for the squares on the 8-tick ES as well, right? And if you look, you would not have lost, right, any money on the squares up once you were above that. So for today, right, when you're over here, just take your hourly chart. So you're already going to know where Globex low is. That part isn't a problem, right? Works the same way in ES, by the way. So here, just do this. Those are the hourlies you want to lose, and then there was a prior hourly over here, okay? It's almost all you need for your charting purposes, right? And then there's a big one down here. That's what you realistically need to know. And if they lose that, you're going to have to go back and find where you get underneath there, which is and then mark off the wicks from there. It's pretty easy to do. Of course. Let's bring it back over here. There we go. So over here you have this, and then you have this. That's the big one, right? So what you want to see is a trade underneath, trade back above, wait till it pulls back. You can start taking your squares up. That's how you figure out, quote unquote, the reversal, right? There's simply no simpler way, right? Over here, I would have said the same thing right here. You got to trap back in here, right? And then when you trap back in here, you got to get above the squares, right? Now, we'd have to look further back to the left what generated the reversal there, but I promise you it works the exact same way. And if you'll go look where it quote unquote failed, like if you look in here, usually it fails before the open or overnight, not during the day session, right? So now the thing that people don't like about using this method is when we're going up, right? I'm just going to address this really quick. You've got to adjust. So when we're going up, you got to adjust to the more recent bars, but going down, you have to go back to the older bars. And for some reason, that throws people. Like, for example, the trap here, see if I said wait till you get over here on the trap, right? See how I said if you wait till you get over there, that's where the trap is? Well, now what happened was the trap came over here, right? It was more recent because we've been going up. They're both valid. And the distinguisher there is getting it above, getting it to pull back, and then giving you the squares up is how you resolve that dilemma. Does that make sense how I just explained that? Is anyone confused about that? Nate, did I explain that well? Or anyone? Did I explain that okay, or did I lose everybody? Mic check? Mic check? Oh, we're good. Okay. Good deal. Well, we're about to open. We have econ at 8:45 and 9 o'clock. I am on the relaxation boat. Okay. I am on the relaxation small size. Let someone figure it out. Right. I am watching my ES like a hawk. Hawk. Right. I want to see what my ES is doing. Okay, I know I have econ at 8:45. Markets go up and down. They're not one-way tools, right? Occasionally they are, but usually they're not one-way tools. Let me switch this over, by the way. Down 445 overnight. I'm going to go from 27 to 28. There we go. Make sure nothing else is on 28. 14. Oh, there is 28. Switch this off. $100. Okay. There we go. And I am watching my 30-second charts for volume spikes, et cetera, et cetera. But I'm not going to pretend to know that I know what this market's going to do today, right? So very, very, very laid back, right? Very laid back. I'm looking for ES. Squares on ES are very important to me today, okay? And I would look at the hourly on ES as well. I did not do my NQ 60-minute volume chart, so let me fix that. Obviously, this all gets deleted. Oh, and remember the other thing, and I forgot this yesterday. Remember I said if we get past the 62 retrace is no bueno? That was the 62 retrace of that breakout bar yesterday. Was 25,235. No one mentioned it to me, and I forgot about it. So it's the same thing here, right? getting above this bar probably takes you to re-auction the whole thing, right? So that 25,169 becomes important. Okay. Prior day's low. Prior day's high. I'm not going to worry about it beyond there. I pretty much have the tools I need to figure out if we're reversing or not. And I'll be very, very patient. So 443 overnight was my P&L off it. Bill had a little bit different. Mine missed a trade, so that's all right. And that's, like I said, totally fine with me. Um, I don't have anything else. There's Globex low. We know where that is. First hour low, first hour high, and initial balance above and below. The first 5 minute bar is what I would use just to give you a general, we could rip up or we could rip down kind of idea. Okay. And then the other thing is you have your 60-minute, your ES 60-minute volume bars. Okay. And again, very, very easy there. Just mark off like here, right? You got to trap back on that hourly. Over here to the left, you got to grab that, right? And the best way to do it, get under, get above, show up the other way, right? And then down here. And then pretty much, as you'll notice, those are day lows, right? So just keep that in mind. You should be mentally noting those off and going, this is what I have to get above or this is what I have to get below, right? And you can see anyone, right? Anyone who said, oh, we're going to go straight down, this is a layup short, right? They're just getting smoked. And it's not a shock at all, right? It's not a shock because you're asking the same question. Who's your opponent? What did they have to accomplish? And where are they wrong, right? Like where the longs wrong right now? They're going to be wrong below the low of the day. That's where that impulse move started, right? That's what do they have to beat to go up? You have to beat, right? When you look on this, to really go up, they have to beat this, but all they have to do is hold above here, right? That's the last hourly down, 25,882, right? So you'll see where we just ran to 25,910, right? So what would I like? If I wanted to short, which I'm not going to, but if I wanted to short, I would like my shorts to set up below 882. On ES, right? ES has got to get above just a quick marker, right? We're going to see it above your last hour down, 68.66, right? We're currently trading, guess where? 68.66, right? That's where we're trading right now. It's got to get above there, right? Above there, they could lift. Below there, no chance. There's blue square, there's white square down, right? I would say, if I was pointing that out, right, it's not at the turn, but I'd say the white squares down on ES on the 8 tick usually get some kind of follow through. Would I take that trade? Well, no, it's the first freaking 5 minutes of the day, right? I don't need to be that involved in this thing. I'll let them sort out who's going to win and who's not going to win. But if I had to take a trade, right, it's going to be on a square, right? If I want to take a trade, it's going to be on a square. It's going to keep me regulated so I don't get smashed, right? I'm just waiting to see if we have a reasonable less than 10,000 point first hour range. Any questions that I can clarify for anyone right now? Respect your account, respect yourself in terms of your psychology, right? Protect yourself. You guys are valuable. You're valuable to me, you're valuable to yourselves, right? We were not meant to be able to trade every market perfectly, right? Some are easier than others, right? I know there it's always hard, it's always a challenge. This morning, I'm telling you, it should get easier after 10:30. Easier after 10:30. As a matter of fact, if someone said, "Hey, Simon, you know what? I'm just going to come back after 10:30 today, and I'm not going to mess with it," I'd go, "That's great. Go back to sleep. See you at 10:30 or whatever you want to do." Right? That's my 2 cents about that. Okay, if no one else has anything else, I don't have anything else either. I've just got nothing to I've got nothing to prove here, right? I just have nothing to prove. I'll let them decide what they're going to do and how they're going to do it. And you'll notice I have a 32 tick up there as well. Why? Because I want to slow the pace down so I can see what's going on, right? See how the 32 tick is giving me information that I can't get off the 24 when it's too fast? Okay, so just relax. We're coming back to that underneath that 66. That's right at that excuse me 82, 66 on ES. You'll see we came right up to it. We couldn't get above it, right? That is resistance for now. Mostly what I see people is, if I were imagining how traders were doing in this, I would imagine a lot of whipsaw is what I would imagine. Now just imagine all the people that came in that said, "Oh, it's short," right? It's short. Look at how red it is. Look how hard we went down from yesterday's afternoon to now, right? I've got to be short here, right? And they're just racking up losses, right? You've got to do the underlying work to understand what you are looking for in your trading, and you've got to have a sense of knowing where the market's going to go. Okay. Wow. The whips are pretty freaking intense there. Did you see that? And don't forget, there will be news stories coming out through the course of the day, right? And then ask, right? So here's a good question to ask. Are we in trend day down, trend day up, or balanced right now? That's a really good question to ask. Are we in trend day down, right? Our facts are we're under the 200, we're under VWAP, right? We're under VWAP and ES, the day's VWAP, right? We're under Globex high, right? Write them down so you know. Like you'll notice that when we're under certain positions, right? You'll have a pretty easy time figuring things out, right? You'll notice when you're in a certain position, you're gonna be like, hey, I noticed like I'm going to give you an example. Um, Joshua asked me to send him the blue square trader that only takes longs above the 200. I'm going to go back, right? He's like, as long as I'm above the 200, I will take the longs, right? So if you look, here he is, right? He's clearly over the 200. And he asked me something very simple. He's like, just do it. So I turn it on and it just takes the blue squares, right? Because he wants this, right? He's like, I'll deal with the fallout from it if it doesn't work, right? He goes, so I'll take this stop in exchange for all of these, okay? He goes, I'll deal with it, okay? Okay, I can hand that to him, no problem, right? And then he wants the opposite, right? He'll get caught on the wrong side of the V eventually. He's gonna have to watch when we hit resistance and support so he doesn't get caught on the wrong side of the V. But that algo will make him money if he can catch when he's not on the wrong side of the V. The wrong side of the V, you're gonna pick up some stops. Wholesale showed that we had an inflation increase apparently. Okay. So now are we in trend day up or trend day down? Right? That's what you want to ask. And the same question goes over and over again. Globex high, Globex low, etc., etc. Where are they? And have we surpassed them or not surpassed them? Right? There's your Globex low. Line on it so it keeps printing. Easy. Getting a lot of nervous Nellies on out there. No, I don't think I want 83. How about just 8? Okay. There's your Globex low. Test the Globex low. Pop up. I'm going to imagine we're about to get econ, right? That is too far, too fast for me to trade easily. Don't want to trade it. I want it to slow down. That's me, right? That is me. Here comes your 845 in 30 seconds. Wow. Talk about the pain train there. I don't know what that was, but boink, boink. Oh, thank you. Everyone having fun yet? Because those guys are getting kiboshed. Kiboshed. Who thought they had the short figured out, right? Not worth trading right now, guys. It's stupid, actually. Oh, now everything's okay. Let us buy the shit out of it, right? Too many shorts. We took them out. They overpressed. Now they got to take it the other way. All it is. All it is. Okay. You have liquidity displaced. You have liquidity displaced. Notice the square on ES. Okay. 10-point stops, right, is what I'm using on those. You can like it or not like it. I've adjusted my size. I know what I'm taking. So my question again, are we trend day down or are we balanced? That sure looks like balance to me, right? That's not trend day down yet, not in the US session. That's balance. Anyone who sold those lows is smoked. Anyone who bought those highs is smoked, right? Ask what kind of day type you're in and where your setup, where your opportunity will come based on that, what you see, right? Ask them, hey, what do I see here, right? Is there any reason why we can't go up 200 points from here? I don't know. I don't have an answer to that. And is it a pace at which I can emotionally manage, right? That's another very important question for me. Can I imagine and manage what I am looking at, right? What I do know is in order to have trend day down, I'm generally below Globex low and below the first hour low. So there's your answer, right? There's the easy answer to start the day off with. Let's see what this is doing, if anything. There you go. Nothing. And down 193 on this, which is fine. All the way back up as we squoze the guys who sold too much. You'll notice in both cases, right, while NQ is above 25,882, right, that's this right here, right? And now the top of the next hourly is 24,986. Okay, and anyone trying to short that, man, I wish you luck on that. New first hour high, by the way. So ask yourself the question again. Is this a short market? Is this a downtrending market or is this a balanced market? Right? And then my suggestion on the algos again, when it is fast, if you'll delay till 10:30, they're all based on volume and it's more responsive to the volume after 10:30, right? So when you look at your charts, no matter how you look at them, right? We're in supernova on the 8 tick on ES, supernova on NQ, right? Supernova on NQ, right? Supernova on NQ, right? So keep going through your list of how do I tell where I'm oriented, which way I want to lean on. And I'm going to tell you, it's hard when the market's swinging this fast, right? I'll say it again. It is hard when the market is swinging this fast to get it right. 9 minutes until the next econ point, data point. As I shared earlier, the data from after 10:30 is very, very positive. on that algo, this one right here. Okay. It's very positive on this algo. I'll have it done this weekend, I think. I have to clean it up a little bit still. And it does lose money sometimes, very importantly. Right? Last night, down 433. Not horrible, just down 433. That's what it was. Where you will make money, right, is when you recognize the situation you have where you're like, hey, this is my killer setup, right? And I'm talking about everything all together. I already knew this morning would be hard because if you look at overnight, those wide ranges, and then you add in what's been going on over the last couple of days in the first hour, right? It's just a formula for butt kicking, right? Like it's literally a formula for how do I get my butt kicked, right? If you try to trade that first hour, that's why I said we can skip it and still be okay, right? In the meantime, have my eyes glued to this ES because I know when I have the squares now, here's what's going to happen. They're going to disappear when it slows down. Off this 8 tick, they'll show up very little and you'll have to stop watching it. But here and now, it's very important that you keep your eye on an 8 tick ES. Okay. There's Globex low all the way down here. Here's the first hour low, right? So everyone got squeezed out after that number. Let's see what happens on the next number. I don't even know what it is. What is it, PMI? Chicago Purchasing Managers Index, for whatever that's worth. Dude, I can't even imagine trying to guess at this market. Just not even. I can't even fathom guessing at this. There's the 200. You know, to go up, you got to get over that 5-minute 200, right? That's not like any tricky thing. Notice we have not been able to get above 66 on ES. Um, dun. Oh, chart number 19. See how we're dancing just underneath that 8-2 line? That's the battleground, obviously. And you'll see that was the battleground from earlier overnight, right? You obviously had to establish and hold underneath 802 to go test lower. That's what essentially the bet is. Balance, not trending. First hour high. Man, people are just getting whipsawed, aren't they? Telling you, not as easy as it looks. Not as easy as it looks. Too many people short at the low. Square down on ES. I'll short that at 65. 64 and a quarter is where I got filled. 10-point stop. 10-point stop. Okay. If they steamroll me, I'm toast. Right? I'm trying to get 5 points for my first scale, so it'll be 59. We're above VWAP, by the way. So I still have 5 points at risk. I'm not moving my stop. So if I take a tenner here, right? Yeah. Man, the volatility on this thing is unreal. Unreal. I don't know if someone's speaking or what the deal is, but very hard. And frustrating that we're whipping in a 100-point range is all we're doing. Okay? All we are doing. And this should not come as a shock because we never went trend down, ever. I'm still not stopped on this. It's 64 against 74, but at that prince, I'm done on half, right? We're in supernova and it's moving pretty damn quick, right? It's not like, oh, I see this perfectly and this is so easy. No, this is hard. Try to get your brain wrapped around how fast we're moving, up and down, and see if you can get a good constant read because I can't, right? I can't get my mind around how fast they're moving it, right? At all. Just nutty. New high of the day. I'm going to assume someone's speaking right now from the way we're trading, right? And that's that. But there's not. There's no news. It's fine. I'm wrong. They're just squeezing the shorts out, which is fine. Like I said, it was balanced. Now we've broken balance to the upside. Here, you got to stop sometimes, get a big picture. We've broken to the upside of balance. See that? Higher lows, higher highs, above VWAP, off into the first hour and the 5-period 200, right? There's just no sellers all of a sudden, right? And that is okay. So what are you looking for now, right? Squares on the turn, right? Squares on the turn, a pullback, but mostly what I'm looking for is non-violent rips, right? Please go down or please come up. We trapped, right? We trapped off the low, off that 1 hour low, right? And we're trapping off the 1 hour low in ES right now. It's got to hold above 66, okay? And obviously stopped on the second half of that trade for a net -5, okay? It's got to. And net, but when you look at it, we've gone nowhere. It's just violent rippings is all it is. People trying to catch the reversal off the low, and they may get it. Running into some supply, obviously, for a second at least. Oop. Trend up. I'm telling you, so freaking hard when the market does this that I'm doing nothing. I'm just sitting here going to let the algos handle it. I am not going to get burnt up on this because I cannot read it, right? Meaning, can I read which way this thing is going? Nope. There you go. It's too big for the algos too. It's just too fast. And by the way, this is why I suggest you don't start your algos till after 9 o'clock and after 10:30 on high volatility. You don't need it, right? You can sit there and fight this all you want. You don't need it. Now everyone's going to stumble over themselves to try to cover the shorts. Blue dot down, blue square down, and nothing on ES. Not yet. As far as I can tell, we're trend up, not trend down. On a down day, we have not broken a swing to the downside, and it's been violent. Save your gunpowder. I know I am. You won't even have to say it to me twice. I'm good. Let's see if they rip them the other way now. Double blue dots down. You get above those, and we could rip. Just FYI. When I talk with my wife in the morning, I already tell her if we're up or moving huge in the first hour, I'll just push all my trading till later in the day. For this very reason right here, that I can't get my brain to shift fast enough that we're going to go from trend down, stop and drop and rip all the way up, and then stop and drop and rip all the way the other way. It just doesn't make any sense to me, right? Like I can't get my brain to get around it. So I can just stop and wait and watch. Just brutal price action. Going back to test a 66 on ES. They obviously aren't face ripping in one direction at this point, right? See how they're parking it on that 66? It's being absorbed. Doesn't mean it won't break. It's just being absorbed, right? I'd actually like the algo down underneath it, right? That'll trap it back underneath that 66, right, to retest. NQ's done better than ES has, frankly. So they're going to build, build, build. Look at the absorption. This is literally what you call passive absorption. Someone's put an order at 66 to buy, right? And they'll dump if it breaks it. By how much, I don't know, but they're obviously going to use that 66 as their measure. Nope. Now what I'd like to see is up, back up, and then I'll go down underneath the 66 for a retest of the low. But you see how they absorbed? Someone sat there and bought 66, right? So when it comes up against 66, guess what? The first thing that guy's going to do, because he would have wanted to do it exactly the way I want, which is tag 66 and go, right? So now he's going to be desperate to get it back above 66, right? If you're the buyer there, you're going to be like, please get back above 66. You're into VWAP, so you're going to have the VWAP guys trying to help you out. But now we know we don't have a ripper up or a ripper down. We have balance, right? Over the 66. I think I want to do nothing. That's what I think. Square down on, not on ES, but on NQ, blue dot. Stops above that, obviously like 77. But I do not like how the market is trading right now. It just seems randomish, which it always is, but, right, they don't want it down and they don't want it up. Here comes the whip up. I am hands off. I'm just going to let this thing work itself out. Whatever it's doing, I don't have a read on it. So, I mean, everything here is telling me long. I don't know about anyone else. It's on from the hourly, not anything else. I just don't have, like I said, I just don't have a read on it. I'm saying that I'm right. I'm just saying that's what my charts are telling me. It's weird in terms of the hourly. Man, what a whipsaw. Like if you look at the number of times we've gone between up and down 30-point rotations in the same place, it's nuts. Like look, now it's all up, then it's all down, then it's all up, then it's all down. Like bizarro. I'm telling you, hands off is a good policy on a day like today. Let it settle out. I mean, holy cow. I can't get a rhythm at all. Wow. I'm not trading right now, guys. I can't be any clearer than that. Like every time I think I've got to move red, I don't. I'm just telling you right now, whatever they're waiting for, this is insane, and it's a good way to blow up an account. I'm just letting you know right now. It's a great way to blow up an account. You don't even have to try. Okay? It goes from minus 100 to up to down 150 to up 100. The market's waiting for something. Like when we sit here sideways perfectly like this, what time did they have the announcement where they come out and said, hey, we reached an agreement or didn't reach an agreement? It caused a massive spike from the Iran thing. And I think I'm probably going, when I have all these bars trading sideways, guys, there's nothing wrong with going, let's just take a break and see where we're at in an hour or after 10:30, because this thing is just slamming now. Look at the bars. We're just slamming in a tight little range, right? And you're gonna have to get that range right to make any money, right? That's just all there is to it. Like whichever way you get right, you'll get right. But yeah, see if this can resurrect itself today. I knew the first hour would be hard, and that's why I said what I said this morning, but I'm still frustrated by it. when the market gets too hard to trade, guys, there's nothing wrong with going, I'll just wait till I understand what the market's trying to do. I'm telling you, I don't understand what the market's trying to do. Like, I'm not trying to be aloof. I literally can't tell you. I just messaged my wife. I was like, I literally can't tell if we're trying to go higher or lower here based on all the different things I know about the market. I can't go, yeah, lower, yeah, higher. I just can't. And that's okay, right? As long as I know it. I'm going to guess that they know the Iran thing out of London. They're having those talks that they're going to say something about that. This is about the time that stuff came out yesterday. We'll see. Maybe I'm wrong. U.S. Secretary of State Rubio will travel to Israel March 2nd through March 3rd, right? That tells you he ain't flying into a war zone, right? So there you go. Maybe it's a ruse. Okay, whatever. I want to show y'all something. That's the 30-second chart right there. 30 seconds since 9:05, right? Look at that chart and tell me, yeah, I'd love to trade that. Look at it all overnight, how it's rolling up and down in a direction. Total sideways. Total sideways, right? Why would you want to trade that and do that to yourself? Look at the chart. Like there's nothing to figure out from there, right? You got to get below that level, come back up, break the swing, and then show some kind of signs of life to the downside, or they're going to break it. It's consolidating, and we're making higher highs and higher lows, right? They've tested the low, they've trapped, and it's been an overall frustrating morning because even though I had a decent, not great, but decent idea of which way the market was going, I cannot tell you what it's trying to do, right? Other than we are at the top of the range now, right? That's it. That's all I can tell you with certainty. And now we go on a bender up. Of course. Stupid. So I want to make clear that I've made clear, and I need some acknowledgments from a few people. You can just send me a direct message. This is hard as hell. Does everyone get that? Like somehow the messages don't get across. People leave their traders on, all of it, right? Hard as hell. Okay. And what happens is I'll get a message and go, hey, I traded all morning long and I got blown up, or I blew up my trading account, or things like that. Have I communicated clearly how easy, how difficult, excuse me, this is, right? Like I need y'all to go, hey, I'm not blowing this shit out of myself. Good job, Joyce. For those of you who are trading, it's just too hard. If you haven't gotten that message, I'm communicating it to you right now. Just too damn hard. Okay? It is just too hard. I can't explain it any better than that. We're on a down day that's grinding up, that's going whipping in 100-point range and in seconds based on news. Okay? So if you can't stop trading on days like today and on the last day of the month, now if you lose money, mark it down. I trade on the last day of the month, news heavy, high, mega high volatility, right? With PA that I was warned about repeatedly is difficult as shit, right? So you can't come back and go, well, I lost money, I'm losing money. If you say that to me, right? I'm gonna go, why were you trading today? Right? And if you can't lose money, why were you on your machine today? Right? When it's gotten this hard, you have to be able to answer that question. And the answer can't be, well, I wanted to make money. Because look at the damn thing. Look at this. Look at the 30-second bars, right? Versus overnight. Look, I can actually tell which way this is going. I can actually see wham, 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 wham. If anything, it's long within the context of a down market. That's hard. right? It's not a beautiful market. Squares not working, no extensions on bars that usually would fall above VWAP, right? Yet it's not extending either. Give yourselves a break, is what I'm saying. After 10:30 will be easier, right? I need all of y'all to hear that. And if you're too tired, definitely don't trade it. And I fall in the same category, the exact same category. I can't make an argument for up or down. And so therefore I cannot trade efficiently. Square down on ES, and if anything, I'd be trading ES, by the way, right? It's count the bars, right? Could have you gotten to profit? You could here, even though I got stopped out on the trailer. Oh, excuse me, it was here, not here. Second bar stop, first bar turn, right? And the bar that was the best was the bar with the square on top. Okay, you got to get specific on days like today. I very rarely go off and say, hey, don't do this, right? But I am today because I want everyone to survive, right? That's why I put those warnings out early in the morning. It's gonna be hard, right? I don't say that because I like people not trading. I just know it is. I've tried it a million times. Great job, guys. I can't hammer how badly I want y'all to make money, but how badly I don't want y'all to blow up on days like today. I'm getting great feedback. I appreciate it. Thank you. boards are 66. No, 82. Sorry, 86 was the next one. See that 86 right there? 87.75. They've just missed it. That was the high of this last hourly down. Remember when it starts doing this thing where it's just bar over bar, where it's just constant supply, go back and look on the days that it did it and see what your entries are. Again, I am keen off of this more than anything else. Okay. What a bizarro market we're in. Just bizarro. Right into the middle of the range now on the retrace. I'll be right back. Guys, great job not getting hurt. Guys, I'm looking for the pace to slow down a little bit and for the volume to have a greater impact on what we're looking at and working with. So that's what I'm doing, if you're wondering. It's testing the biggest volume push that we had on top up here. That's what's going on right now. So just FYI, that's what that just was a test up on the volume. Okay, up on top. See that? That was our highest volume push up on top. It just rejected off the back of that. Came back to test. Test one, test two, right? So now you'd say your support is this right here. See that? That's to be, if you were shorting here, that's what you would target down there. There's other little places, but they finally got that biggest push right on top on that little bar, and that's where it's trying to negotiate its way through. Okay, so we'll see what happens from there. Looks like they're trying for the upside push. Told you we had no idea what it was going to do today. The assumption was everywhere I looked, down, but I didn't see anything that said down, purely. I just can't tell. I don't even know why we're trying to go up. Like, it's just random at this point, which is all right. It's just random. The shorts got squozed. They pushed down too hard at the lows. See if they exhausted them there. Blue dot down, double blue square, and square down on ES. Oh, no, not square down on ES. That's the 32 tick. It just held that, whatever that proverbial triple top is there. Very interesting. Off the 200. That's what it looks like. The important lesson to remember from today is that's what it looks like when they keep squeezing these guys out this week. Like the number one thing I've seen is this is what it looks like when you wear these guys out, right? This is what it looks like. And they just can't keep going, right? They just get worn out completely on their trades and they just squeeze the daylights out of them, right? They squeeze the daylights out of them. I'm trying to figure out, okay, see, let me show you something. We might as well learn while we're talking. Where's that chart I just showed? No, I had it. This one? Here, this will work just fine. See that red line? That's still the line of demarcation up here. This is the biggest push. Okay, so you have two pushes that are really big, right? So look at this. See this push right here, right? Just mark it off. It's the biggest push of the day. If you don't get underneath this guy, see how I drew that red line? We don't go lower. See how it got defended? Look, this. So you can't buy it and just say it will be defended, right? Well, I guess you could, but see all that? Okay. Now, as you see how that's the biggest volume, hands down, at 902. Okay. Outside of the opening rotation. So now come over here, right? See this over here? The biggest volume upstairs is this dude. When I say upstairs, right? It's this guy right here. He is the biggest volume. Okay. So guess what happens when you get underneath the biggest volume? See that? Bye-bye. Resistance, resistance, right? And you'll see on each subsequent press, see how the volume's dropping? Now where's the biggest guy up here? It's this dude. Okay, notice what changed on this one is that it didn't get the biggest push above, and the guy who's actually stuck is not at the high. It's actually this guy right here, right? He's the biggest volume push. They got above him, right? See that? They're like, yay, we got above him. Now watch, when we backside test that guy, if we can't get above 25,000, you get the algos down, now it'll come back and test lower. And what is it going to test lower for? Who's your biggest sellers downstairs? It's this guy. Right now, whoever this is, it's that dude. Okay, so they should have tried to save it off of him, and down here, it's this guy right here. And if you just, all you have to do is draw a line across it to figure out who's bigger. Okay, so out of all these tests, this one, and this guy right here at the low, this is your biggest seller right here. You have to kind of go through the process and analyze it. We came down to them. We found responsive buyers, right? We went up for our biggest buyers because this is balance, right? And we found responsive sellers, right? So we can make it real nitty gritty. There's nothing wrong with that, right? And then what you do is you go in, you go, okay, tie those levels up for me and help me understand. But it's not always that easy just to go, hey, I'm just going to do X and put it in there, right? The goal is to get your best trade set up, right? And what I would like people to start doing, is anyone in the room or am I talking to myself? That's always a good question. Yeah. So Brian, what I want to do outside of identifying the days that I know will be pretty inherently just naturally hard, right? Outside of that, right? What I want to do, or what I want to make sure that I do, is that I don't get bone crunched, right? That I don't get bone crunched in this process, right? That's what I want to make sure that I do not do, right? Because I don't want to lose money, right? I don't want to lose money. That's very, very important. And I want, so the first thing was the identification of the day. Hey guys, this day will probably be hard. So everyone can back off, including myself, right? That's the first piece that's important, right? Are we coming into, yeah, we have 5 minutes till these yahoos in London have a chance to get in or get out, either way. So next, when I look at that chart I was just working with, which I've somehow managed to lose again, okay, look what we're pressing into here right now. That's what that guy has to get above. He's the biggest buyer up here. He's stuck. See that? So now look how he behaves, right? Use it as a microcosm to understand price, right? What does he have to do, right? What does he have to do? Well, he has to get higher than that 25, right? That's what he has to do. Okay? So you give him time to figure that part out, right? You can give him time to figure that part out, but you don't want to, hold on a second here. You want to do it in a way where all of this is matching up and you go, hey, I've got a great trade here. Like now we have white square circle down, right? That is pretty good, right? Most people will go, hey, that's fantastico, right? I've been waiting for that. Why did that make sense there, Brian? It made sense because you're right into the volume. See how you're right into the volume? And you pressed up against them and you said, I will puke this right here. Does that make sense? Does that carry over? So then when you see that trade, you're lining up where you have price, right? You're lining up where you have price, and then you have the individual signal, right? You have the individual signal that'll tell you, hey, you know what? That's exactly where I needed to trap that guy. Like that's exactly what I needed to make this trade work, right? So do you see how much work that is? I have to take this chart, right? I have to take this chart. Oh, where did I put it again? Let me think. Do 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 do. Well, it's all right. Did you learn from it? Is the question. So you can repeat it on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, right? You only need it to line up one time to get your payout, right? That was what I was trying to convey to you. Is that can you repeat that part of the process? Where's my stupid 30-second? There we Okay, there it is. So when you look at this, right? When you look at this, do you look and go, oh yeah, I totally understand why I am doing this with this chart, right? Like why this makes sense here. And if I can line that up, what you want to do is fall out of there and just go away, right? That's exactly what you want to happen. So you can line up those two pieces together. You go, oh, look, this is what I get when that occurs, right? This is what I get when that occurs. Okay, great. So now that takes a lot. So the problem with that is that takes a lot of work. There's no problem with it. It just takes a lot of work, right? So watch, if I take this chart, I can do it with any product I want to do it with, okay? Okay, here we are on ES, right? So see up here on top, I know this is the guy, when we get up here, this is the guy I have to get underneath. Like there's just no one else. He had the volume surge on him. That guy right there. He's my resistance in a very micro way, right? So I put a line underneath them, and you're going to watch, they're going to come back to backside test them, right? They're going to come back. I'm going to say it again. They're going to come back to backside test them, right? And then they're going to go from there. Did we close yet on London? Yeah, we did. Let's see if they want to continue to rally this or not. Okay. Now you can just watch and measure based on what I tell you. This is how it'll behave, right? And then the last piece, you take that and you line it up with, well, what happens when I get an algo on ES out of this now or an algo on NQ? What's the net result of doing that, right? That's how you want to measure all those things, right? And it has to fit in line with, hey, I think we're trending up. Hey, I think we're going down. Whatever the case may be, right? You don't want to keep, right? You don't want to keep fighting it one way or the other. If they break it out, great. No one cares, right? If they break it out, that's great. No problem. But if they reverse it and bring it lower, right? No problem either. You just want the algo to line up with where your location is so they all match. The problem with today is I don't have an efficient way of going, this is what we're trying to do and this is what we're going to do, right? I just don't, right? All I can see is it's on a potential short squeeze for whatever reason, right? So London closed. Usually when they exhaust into London, they come back. Now they're trying to get above. So I would say if you execute above this 05, you've got problems, right? And it looks like they're trying to. When do they run out of juice? I don't know because they've been doing this weirdo stuff all day long, right? It's not like I've been like, oh, this is new and I'm shocked, right? It's just been persistent and going nowhere. But see how the rejection out of this area makes sense, right? Because if you look on your 30-second chart, they're banging into the volume and they got above it, right? And now it's been replaced. Let me actually show you the face of this has changed a little bit. This is now your biggest volume bar right here. You got to get underneath 65.78 to fall away. They changed, right? Right at the close. That's what you got to get underneath. So now put that line at 68.79, right? You know on ES, you've got to be trading below it or you ain't going nowhere. That's now the break for the day right there on ES. That's what's got to go. If it doesn't go, you got no trade. And for the life of me, I don't know why we're running this thing up or down. It's very, very frustrating to me when they do this. RTHI is about to be taken out, it looks like. Not quite. Amazing. Just amazing to me. Such weird price action. And generally, right? Generally, this price action sucks, right? Generally, this price action sucks. So you would not want to sit there. You would not want to sit there and trade it all day, right? That's the other thing I'm trying to convey to you. You would not want to sit here and trade this all day. You'd want to be very specific about what you are or are not finding to trade successfully in this so that you can run up your accounts, right? When they're perfect. Let me show you. Well, who wants to do a session? Let's just do a session, right? Here, let's just do a how to trade 101 and get big trades. Why not do that, right? Pull up your 5-minute chart. Get rid of this. Prior to 7:30, you had two buyers. There we go. Two big buyers, right? You're looking for your big buyers overnight. One, two, three, right? I don't even know where those are. If we even got to them. One, two, and three. They're basically stacked on top of each other. Okay, look at the open, right? Now look where we keep pinning between those 2 points, right? Does that make sense? I'm going to say that again. Look where we're pinning between, right? All I did was draw where the highest volume was, right? So notice that we came in. Do you, Brian, do you see this? Is this, I'm hoping it'll help you and others. Okay. Let me get my phone out so I can see y'all talk. We might as well just do a coaching session, right? Where's my Slack? Okay. So see this, right? So now down here, after we open, right? See how this guy's your biggest seller right here at 825, right? It's tied between this guy. This is just using a 5-minute. You can carry this out higher and higher. 5-minute. And then this guy took him over right here. Okay. Do you see how we tried to break him multiple times and couldn't, and he became support? Does that make sense? Hey Siri, turn off low power mode. Okay. So then now I can see what people are responding without having to switch my screen up. Okay, so now I can go to within my 1 minutes in there and find out where it is, but you can just see generally if we didn't have to be specific, right? So go look yesterday. First, the first litmus test you have to find is what Simon's saying is true. So see on the way down here yesterday, that was the biggest volume bar down, like hands down. It was after the open. It was this guy right here at 920. That's who you had to clear above to go higher. See how they, okay, so now who's your biggest buyer on the way up? So see this guy right here? You got to throw him out, even though he's big. You got to throw him out because he's not up top. So as we're coming up top, who's my biggest buyer? See this right here? It's not the last bar, it's that guy right there. Usually it'll be some kind of variance on a doji, right? Now notice what it did. It came right to the top of where they had to squeeze out the biggest seller, right? And then it gave you that white volume bar down and underneath the highest volume relative to what went off near the top. And then the bigger one would have been this guy right here. But it's never going to be perfect. There's always going to be an imperfect. It's always going to be an imperfect type of measure, if that makes any sense. Okay. Okay. So see how we're rolling down right now? Okay. See how we're rolling down now? Let me go to the other end, guys. See how we're rolling down now? Where are we going to roll down to? So the first thing you have to look at, if you said, Simon, where's support? See this dude at 840 right here? This guy is hands down clearly the seller that got smoked. So you have to kind of draw and redraw, right? He's just a huge bar, but was it that whole wick? Is this whole bar right here? Okay. That's your support level. That's your what you're targeting down is 25,904 to get down. So when you come back the other way, right? So up here, if we looked, right, we already did it with the 1 minute, but who's the seller that's trapped right now, right? It's this guy. So you got to break it down inch by inch. See this? This guy sold really heavily, but really what we want to know. So this is what you do. You got to make a rule because otherwise you'll drive yourself crazy doing it both ways. On top, who's your biggest buyer? So when we got up here, who was the biggest buyer on top? So you got to get rid of this guy because he's the one who broke us to the upside. So you get rid of him and it goes down, 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 down. I'm going to go with this dude right here. On a 5 minute basis, this guy has to go. If I color that and I draw 24,955. Oh, sorry. This is the part that's hard on me. It's right here. Draw 24,955. It's that right there. It's that bar. Okay. That guy, you have to lose him, right? On a 5 minute time frame. So Brian, now do you see how I put in? I found who was trapping on top, and I know who I have to beat up here from a higher time frame. Is this starting to click and make sense? So now if I go over here, right? So I know I had my guys up here, right, that were trapped. And the easiest trade I had was this bar down. And you could have taken this apex if you're going to be a little bit more aggressive. And then the next question you'd ask is, well, if I thought it was that bar, right, it went from 79, I think it's 89, 99, 19, 79, 89, 99, 09. I think it just stopped you out. I'm going to guess it did. That's 0950. So you just got stopped out. You'd have had to decide whether you were going to take it again, right? So now keep going. Keep coming back here, right? See how on the 5 minute, see on this 5 minute bar, right? You knew you had to get above this guy because he was trapped, right? But how do you set up the trade within here now? Very difficult. So you go look at 840 to 850 and you go to your 1 minute. Do, 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 do. Okay, down here, right? So 840, you know where you had to break out. You can see it there, right? So who was your biggest seller down here? Who did you have to beat? So see, as we came down, so remember, this is all outside 9 o'clock. It's this guy right here. See that? Right here. No one beats him. See that? It's this bar. Okay, that's where that consolidation on top came from. Right now, I could simply say I'm going to go long. Oh, this is ES, but it's the same thing. 68.54 against 68.46, which is fine, right? But if I come over here, let's try this with ES. Apologies. I did it with NQ. 68.54. It was like that, roughly. Okay, now you have a picture of what it looked like above. And the way that that worked, right? So now you'd go, okay, well, wait a minute. Simon said that was long, but look at my trades now. Hold, hold, hold. It was all just reversal bar up, no algo, right? The only algo that worked was the square stuffed, right? Square stuffed was the only one that worked down. I didn't even get a blue dot on the turn. So now what you do is you take the same chart, go chart, chart settings, and go see if it shows up on the 6 tick, right? They kind of funny how they lay out the different points. Okay, there's a 6 tick. Did we do any better? Nope. You got that right there, which was fine, right? It was all these stuffed right in here and then this. So all you would say in that case is it didn't line up except the one bar that it gave you did give you a 71 to 84 lift, right? So sometimes it's not going to always lay out, but at least you know, right? You have a pretty good idea of where they're going to have to come out and come out to play, right? So when we're looking on top up here, it's this dude right here, right? That guy's your resistance. You could draw and find out where the point of control on that is. It's right at the top. In this particular case, they left him all by himself. But that whole area is what I'm looking for, right? So if I come in there, as I'm coming up into this, right, now what I'd like to see, some kind of algo down up here that would tell me, hey, Simon, you can take the short, right? That's what I would like to see if it comes out here, right? And then if I take that, I want to go to the 30-second bar. And I can accomplish all of that, right? Right from here. So see on this way down, if you said, Simon, where are we going to break out? So it's not that busy because I'm always looking at this pretty closely, right? So see on NQ, I'm just going to tell you right now, this is the guy you have to beat. If you don't get above 69, 24,975, you go nowhere. And instead of me constantly reevaluating that, right? Like over here, right? I would have said this guy, right? I'm going to say if I get underneath here, we should go lower. And most of the time, when you pull that off, right, and you're doing it in real time, you're going to look and go, hey, I'm at location. So let's say um, coming into, okay, I think Wednesday we went trend, Tuesday we went up, right? Okay, we did. Okay, so let's say I was looking here, right? Let's say I was looking here and I wanted to find the reversal. I'm going to mark that. See, it's already marking it off, highlighting it. See that bar right there? I already know it draws a line right underneath it. I already know that's what I have to get underneath, right? So then I'm going, hey, once I'm underneath, I could go lower. What does that look like? Now, just because you trade lower does not mean, the reason I wait for the signal is what I really want to happen. If we go look at this 1206 on this day, and I highlight it, what I really want is the algo to fire underneath. And I would have said, by the way, same thing here if I was going to go short, right? I want the algo to fire underneath, right, to give me the roll lower. And the higher, and what was special about this is it fired all the way up in the channel, right? See how much space it had? So if I come back over here and I go to 12:37 on Tuesday, excuse me. Okay, here's 12:37 on Tuesday, right there. Okay, see how I'm underneath? I know I'm underneath, right? So I'm just gonna take my algos down once I'm there. So see how now you're underneath the pressure. So see how it doesn't necessarily come on the turn, but the dot down, the dot with the blue square, the white bar down, you're underneath that guy. He's got to get out. Does that make sense? Matter of fact, here, I'm going to just plug this back in over here. I don't have enough damn screen space. That's what's driving me nuts, right? So when I look at this over here, right? When I look at this over here, if I come here, I'm going to say, right? Is any of this interesting to me, right? If I erase these lines, I'm going to go, dang it, chart, attach chart per window. There we go. I'm going to say, right? I don't care if we go up here, right? Why? Because this is the guy I am worried about right here, Mr. 24,975. That is what my concern is right now, right? And you can expand that as you expand your time frames. You can expand that wider and wider and wider as you go, okay? And what don't you want? You don't want to get an algo above Mr. 75, right? You want it to hold within X number of points, right? I'm going to say that again. You want it to hold within X number of points, right? See how we're getting to Mr. 75 here? And he's having a little bit of a hard time. He's not having a great moment if you went long above Mr. 75. Why? That dude, right, or dudette, whoever it is going to do exactly what they're doing right now. That's where all the volume is, and he's going to defend. Now, does that mean it cannot break above? No. That just means on the algos down against that, that a good chunk of them will release to the downside, right? A good chunk of those algos, see how the absorption, this is passive absorption, right? Someone just has a sell order there and he's eating up all the volume that's going off there, right? That's why it's stopping. Now, it hasn't reversed. Doesn't mean that it can't go up more. It just means that they're getting absorbed. He's getting absorbed right there, right? That's all it means. And then what you're looking for is for the algo to actually fire and go, ha, I got you. Now, let's say you wanted to put an order in instead of waiting for the algo, you just want to put an order in there. That's fine. It's just got to be small enough, right, so that it succeeds. I'm going to say that again. It just has to be small enough so that it succeeds, right? So now you know you've got an orange bar down, right? You know you're pushing up against the 75, and you know it can't get more than 30 points, 99, above that bar, right? Now all you have to do is do it 100 times, right? And then decide, the key to this, Brian, is when is it really special, right? And I'm going to tell you, when we're trending is the answer to that question, hands down. When we are trending, it's really, really special. It can go a long, long way. Is that clear? So let's go try to find an example of where that happened. Okay, that's what I would like to do is go find an example of where that happened. Let's see what this does here. I want to watch in real time so I can show y'all, right? So whether this makes it or fails doesn't much matter, right? Doesn't much matter at all. All that it matters is that you knew where these guys were going to have difficulty, and now watch how they resolve the difficulty, right? You still have the seller there, but if they beat them, right, he may have to flip buyer. And instead of taking a trade that's so big that you'd be like, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do, right? Take a trade that goes, I understand how to work this particular trade, and this is how I'm going to do that, right? This is how I'm going to do that. And then you had a chance to take some off if you wanted. If it closed above like this, you might go, I want to be out. I don't want to keep trading this, right? And that's a fine answer too. There's nothing wrong with that answer, right? Both answers are correct, is what I'm trying to tell you, okay? Both answers are correct. And then you put down the context for the day. And what's the context for the day? The PA has been pretty freaking hard. No one has it's been a balanced market. No one has a king or a queen on this. And all you do is mark down if I took that, is go, okay, I got stopped on that trade, right? That's it. You don't go, oh, this is horrible or it's the end of the day or anything else. Now, watch, see all the volume coming in right here? Now, I don't know if there was, I don't know if there was a piece of news. It doesn't even matter, right? It doesn't even matter. All that matters is now I know that in order to go lower, I got to get underneath whoever this guy is right here, 86. If I don't get underneath 86, I've got a problem, right? I can identify where they're going to pause for the most part. Obviously, there was some kind of news because all of a sudden we're just jiving up and down, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that, but it's very frustrating. The whole day for me has been just ridiculous, right? I can't get a rhythm on this thing at all. I have no idea what the market's trying to accomplish. So I'm just going to coach my way through it, right? So as you look at this, now what's next? Well, I know where they're putting in the volume. So now I know if I short, don't short, stay long, I know I cannot, it would not be a good thing to get below Mr. 24,986, right? I'm in trouble if I get below Mr. 24,986 and he's either exhaustive, right? Or they're going to keep running. Either that was it and they poked their head above and now that's it, they've got it, or not is answer B, right? Not's a viable answer, right? So there's your blue square down, there's your white with your blue, right? I'd be asking, well, what happens when I get those high volumes and then I get the blue circle with the white dot, right? What happens next? Well, this is the cool thing about it. We can find out right now what's going to happen next, right? We don't even have to guess, right? And I think that's totally cool. We're going to find out. And it's 3 minutes till New York lunch, whatever that means. And then Brian, as you go through and watch this, right? Like let's say I was trading right now. I'm just gonna go, I'm gonna fade that big buyer. We're overall trend down. He's the biggest push I have on top. I'm fading him, right? So then ask this question. How far do you have to fade him? Like let's just say we didn't have the algos. We're just gonna trade him, right? How far do you have to fade him? How many points do you have to give him? Does it need 2 bars above, 3 bars above? Does it need a close above to mean he's going? Or does it not mean it? Do I need the square? Like you just start going through your checklists, right? Of what would be your preferred quote unquote best trade of the day, right? I want to see if there's any, I don't think we missed anything, but you never know. Trump posted an FTC letter to Apple on Apple News about political actions on Truth Social. That was quite a while ago. So I don't know what that means at all. Okay, now see how that worked, Brian? And I have a recording of that. I'll go be able to pull that out, right? So see how we put those two pieces together? and one trade worked really well, and one trade just didn't work as well. That's all there is to it, right? One trade just didn't work as well as we wanted it to, right? Does that help a little bit in helping you understand what you're looking for and when and why? And it doesn't always line up. Sometimes you get the algo of one without the other, right? But at least you have a way of knowing, and that's basically a version of what this 30-second trader does, right? Except we've got it tuned so that it catches trend, and it's just having a very hard time in balance today. We'll see how it pans out. It's actually picked up some P&L along the way, so that's not bad. And it's now triggered to the short side, so we'll see how she does. Okay, guys, I got to jump off. I'm going to end the recording there. I'll be doing more examples like this through the course of the day. I'll talk to y'all later.